Thank you, robot. Hello to everyone. This is the February 7th edition of the Norwalk Arts and Cultural Commission. Okay, let me just yank up the agenda. And we will start with a roll call as soon as I can get that up. Okay, I can't see if I can Sabrina pull it up. All right. Roll call quick. Brian Casper, chair, present. Nori Gruden.
Here.
Mark Allen.
Here.
Stephen Rust.
Here.
And Melissa Matuska.
Here.
Thanks, team.
Congratulations, Melissa.
Thank you
Oh.
very much.
Did you?
Yes, I gave birth.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
That's awesome. Boy or
Thanks.
girl?
It's a girl named Mila Ann Matuska, coming in
Mila.
at 7 pounds and 6 ounces.
Nice. Congrats.
Congratulations.
Very
Thanks.
cool. So you have a boy and a girl?
There you go.
That's correct.
That's
just need,
awesome.
just need a golden retriever.
I got a dog. It's just not a
You got it
golden
already.
dog. There you go.
All right. I'm recognizing that Naomi Clark is joining. Hello, Naomi. Good to see you, or see your name. Okay. Sabrina, can you pull the agenda for us?
Yes, public participation is next though, so.
Yes. We have to prove minutes though first. No, or
So
is it?
I saw Naomi for
No,
2 seconds.
public participation first.
Oh,
and
right.
then-
There it is. All right. So
Right.
public
And
participation.
We do have a few participants here.
Wow.
If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. We have Anne Marie and Heather Gunn. And Heather, I'm gonna promote you. You can keep yourself muted if you would like, but as the council member, we allow you to participate in these meetings. We allow one from each party. So if there was a Republican, you'd be on. I believe you're independent, but we'll allow you to be promoted and you can chime in when you'd like. But Anne Marie, if you'd like to speak as a guest, feel free to raise your hand. If not, just be in with us and watch the meeting. I think we're all good, Brian. I think you can move on. Brian, you're muted.
Sorry, noted. I had to clear my throat. All right, so first up, we're approving the minutes of the January 9th special meeting, a special only because it was delayed by a week because of the new year. I saw no, although I think there was a misspelled name or something, but other than that, I saw no issue. Did anyone who reviewed it have any issues, corrections, etc.? Okay. We have a motion to approve these minutes as
I'll make a
stated.
motion to approve.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have a second? Anyone?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Stephen. All right, quick via roll call. Nora Gruden,
Aye.
Brian Casper, I vote aye. Mark Allen,
Aye.
Stephen Rust.
Aye.
Naomi, I believe you weren't present, so Naomi probably abstaining, yes?
From last week, yes.
Oh, and also the commission is recognizing Bob Everiola is now here. Hi, Bob.
Hey, guys.
Bob,
Aye.
thank you. Melissa Matuska,
Aye.
and that's it, right? Yeah. All right, the ayes carried. Approved. New business. Starting with our budget review from Bob. Got anything for us?
Nothing's changed, Brian.
Cool.
Well, let's move on to the next one. I'm just gonna double check and go through, and I can call it up again if you guys want to take a look at it. But right now, everything's okay.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything
There's nothing major secretarial, but we
No.
have money to spend,
Yeah.
and we need to start thinking about how we want to budget forecast, right? So
agreed.
use it or lose it kind of thinking. So we should figure out what we want to do as a group.
Yeah, I think there's definitely hopefully gonna be some things coming on the pipeline with as these murals start to take place. We're gonna start to do hopefully events surrounding them. I mean, Annika just emailed me asking about that sort of stuff, so we can probably use some advertising dollars towards some of that stuff. and maybe I know there's like printing and duplicating. I'm sure we'll start to kind of eat away at some of that as we kind of really kick the year off, hopefully. All right, so no major additions, corrections, etc.
Nope.
Okay. Moving on to events update. Unfortunately, we got an email today from Ava saying that she was stepping away from the commission just because she didn't have the time, which is disappointing to see her go, but hopefully we'll see her in some capacity in the future. So that leaves our newly formed events committee without a leader. Offline, if anyone wants to meet with me and chat about it, the possibility of running some of that, I would like to see more things happen, as we've talked about many times. So I guess there's nothing really to say there, except for we don't have Ava anymore, and if anyone wants to jump in to her shoes, let's do it.
Brian, I can talk a little bit about it as well. So
Yeah.
if anybody has any ideas for somebody to join the commission, we have a vacancy. So if you guys have any ideas you want to shoot over to me, I'm happy to reach out on our behalf. Or if you guys want to reach out, I'm happy to facilitate that and do what we need to do. But additionally, for events on our end, so as you know, the Office of Business Development and Tourism hosts the special events coordinator position, who's Anna Brialt, who a few of you have met at this point. We're going to start doing smaller events. So we obviously still have the big ones that we'll continue to do in the city. But we're hoping to do more smaller monthly events that include, book clubs, poetry nights. We have something that we called Try It Tuesday. We're going to be, hoping to get some pottery classes, maybe some live paint classes, things like that. And the purpose is really not only to go to businesses that might be in a lull or days that aren't so good for them and bring customers in, but also to expose families and children and community members that may not have the opportunity to do certain things, like take a pottery class or do a painting class. So we're excited to launch that series. So we'll be looking to you guys for not only ideas, but support when we get to that point as well. So that's just a tiny update on that.
Yeah, and to add to that, even if you maybe don't have the bandwidth in your schedule to, take on something like events, even if you have an idea for one, Anna's great to work with. She's really enthusiastic to get these things off the ground. For instance, I know Nori talked about something about, jazz musicians she knows and things like that. Even just to put those people in touch with the right people, just to kind of get some things rolling could be good. So, yeah.
Sabrina,
Yeah, Nori.
Pre-COVID, the library was doing the lit crawl. Has there any thought to bringing that back in April?
We could potentially do that. We have 2 events that are already happening in April, but we can probably squeeze it in as well. So we have Earth Day, which is going to be a big event for us. And then we're also going to have, we're in talks with kind of a vintage, boutique kind of showing of sorts, where we're going to use the empty spaces on Washington Street to have, clothes that might be vintage that people want to look at, or art, things like that. So we can definitely try to partner with something with those events for that, or make it separate and see if we have the bandwidth to do that. But if we have people who are interested, we're happy to look into it and see what it takes and go for it.
Yeah, because the library would take hold of it and get, politicians, people involved in the community, just to go out and read poems, some that they wrote themselves, some of them, published. So, and we also have the poet laureate. So it's kind of like pre-COVID, we were really into it, and then COVID happened, and then it kind of stopped.
Nori, have you discussed that? Are you in touch with Sherelle at all?
No, I can always, get her contact information and ask her.
I can reach out to her as well, Nori, because if we wanted to do it, it would pair really great with the kind of vintage thing on Washington Street, because we're going to have all those vacant storefronts open. So if we had people to read poetry, for example, in each of those locations, as well as being able to shop, I think it might partner really easily and well with that event that we already have going.
Yeah, that's
I
an
see
idea.
that Heather has her hand up.
Hi, actually, I'll turn on my
Hi.
camera, so. Um, I actually set up a poetry stage when I was doing the Norwalk Art Festival. So if you'd like the list, if somebody wants to do that, the list of all the poets who, we had on the stage, I can get that to you. Just whoever it is, just reach out to me, okay? Because they're all pretty local.
I'll reach out to you directly, Heather, to get the
Okay.
list. Thank you for that.
Okay, sounds
Yeah,
good.
thanks.
Thanks.
Sabrina, is our poet laureate still in effect with the change of the commission? And would we need to nominate that person? Just wondering.
No,
Thinking-
it would carry over. It's still in the same wheelhouse.
And the poet laureate was chosen by the director of the library, I believe. She interviewed them. I was there.
Yeah, it's been a long time since.
Okay,
Hey, Brian,
Um,
I had one idea I wanted to
yeah.
just throw out there.
go ahead, Bob.
New York City, through the Parks group, they do, Leslie actually curates this, and it's free for people that want to attend, but they offer classes in the 5 boroughs. So Leslie will basically pick an artist and they'll have like a theme, and then they'll market it and the city pays for it. So we may want to consider doing, I don't know, something like that in Norwalk. Like
Yeah.
we have a lot of different areas that can host classes, and maybe we fund it. You know, we pay and it's free of charge for Norwalk residents. They can go and they get a class. Like the printmaking center might be interesting, and certainly there's a couple different areas that might be willing to do a class. We just pay, you know, we pay for whatever the costs are for supplies. But that might be a nice thing for us to do, and kind of gets us out there in the community, and it's a free class.
Yeah, and especially if we can start to do things, as we always keep talking about, things that are just outside of the visual arts too. You know, start doing I love the poetry stuff. I mean, music, like anything to start to
Yeah.
get people to dip their toe in the water with different things.
You
Absolutely.
can get the factory underground showing some music over there, right?
I like that idea.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's keep this conversation moving, and even if the events committee subcommittee ends up being this sort of amoebic blob of whoever feels like proposing something for the time being, so be it. But let's
Excuse me,
definitely
Brian.
yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Is Danny still on the commission?
As
Danny
far as I know,
Loftus-Stork?
he's my vice chair.
Excellent. Oh, yes.
I've seen him one time.
Okay.
You went to one meeting. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I plan to reach out to him on other things anyway, so I'll check in. But obviously, they would be a good candidate for any kind of live
Absolutely.
stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let me see what he's up to.
Um,
All right. Thanks.
Okay, so let's keep moving here through the agenda. Up next is an update on the art teaching fellowship with Naomi, which I'm very excited to hear about. So Naomi, take it away.
Hi everybody. Good to see everyone again, and sorry I wasn't able to attend last month. I too am willing to help with events, but I don't quite feel like I have the bandwidth to take on like the total thing, but happy to brainstorm and help as well with that. For the teaching thing, we met with Sandra, who's the assistant of the deputy superintendent at with the school district. It was Danny and myself and Sandra on the call. And so there's kind of twofold, and Danny will tell hopefully more about the program that he's kind of working on with Sandra, which is the attendance incentives. But they were very much on board with an artist resident, and they think that they probably have some money for it too. She asked for me to send over the proposal, which I did. And I think this was back it was before Christmas. It was probably December. So I sent the proposal over to her and haven't heard back from her. So now that's kind of a circle back situation. I think funding for it, they're definitely into it. The idea would be to start it probably like at one school as a sort of pilot program, probably in a high school, and then see how that does. But they're very much have some funding that they could put towards it, and B, excited about the idea. So I guess the next step is to circle back with them. I assume, I don't totally know, and then also kind of see how the commission can help continue to move this forward.
Yeah, Is the hope to try to make this happen for next school year?
Yeah, 2025, I think would be a great goal.
Okay.
September 2025.
So in not next school year.
September
next,
2024. Yeah, next school year.
24, 25. Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be great. And then is this something that we'd put a call out for, or what, how would you
Yeah, I imagine
what's your
it
idea
would be
for
an
go
open
ahead.
call. Yeah, I think an open call would be great because to kind of see who's interested in a part-time teaching situation, because it would be very much kind of a part-time role. I would like to think about ways we can, like, with the school system, onboard them as a teaching artist, what kind of they need from a teacher and how they would want to work that. I think that would be a pretty close collaboration with them, because I would want it to be helpful for the school system and the students, as well as the teaching artist.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great program, and we always talk about exposing, our youngest citizens to more art and more professional artists to show them the way, the dark side, as it were.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Naomi or comments?
You know,
Really? Oh, okay, there we go. Whew.
Yeah, I know,
I was gonna say crickets. Come on.
Naomi, this is Melissa Matuska. Were you able to reach out to the Guggenheim? I think we had discussed
Oh, yes.
that they have the program there.
Yeah.
And to see what their funding was, any kind of tips, tricks, etc.
I didn't reach out to them. Their program, I think, I didn't. So that's still on my to-do list. But I think the price range, or the kind of part-time salary we had proposed, seems like a good, was it you had said maybe it was 10,000 more than what I had initially wrote, which was, I think, 25,000. Was some of the other costs could be kind of
Yeah, I had reached out to my contact at the Met to see what they thought the salary should be, because I wanted to make sure that should be on trend with the area. And she was the one who pointed me in the direction of the program at the Guggenheim.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll do a little bit more. That honestly just slipped my mind. But I will definitely reach out. But I think what we are offering right now, or hypothetically, would be $35,000 for basically probably what I imagine it being 2 times a week, with a little bit of onboarding in the summertime to work with the teachers. But again, that would be, that could be split with the public schools. They definitely said that there were some pots of money that they could pull from for that. And then, yeah, to see if that's on track. I know what a full-time teacher makes, art teacher, so that's a starting salary is probably about 70,000. So half of that, 35,000, does seem to be probably in the ballpark, but always good to check with the Learning Through the Arts program. I was actually an intern for that program, which is what gave me this whole idea way long time ago, like 25 years ago. So
Were you able to connect with Heather about some of this? I know she had interest in this specifically.
I was not, so
Oh.
sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, happy to still do that though.
Yeah, always good to have a council member in your tool belt too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
I'll still reach out to that. So I guess I
for
need
that.
to reach out to Sabrina and Heather, and then yeah, if anybody else has any tips, tricks, or comments, questions, happy to incorporate that.
Right on. Yeah. Okay, cool. Moving on, we have equity statement review with Mark, and I believe Erica is going to join us and comment on that too. For those who don't know, Erica is the new director of the Fairfield Cultural Alliance. She took over for David Green, and she has written equity statements. I'll let her speak to her experience. And she and Mark are working on this. So I'll let you guys take it from here.
So I appreciate that, Brian. As you know, going back to the former Arts Commission, this was something that I had always wanted to see happen. So I'm really excited that we've been able to carry the work forward. And thank you, Brian, for putting me on that. To really do this the right way, I felt like I needed to turn to some experts in the community. Of course, I spoke to Erica extensively, and I also spoke and met with Latoya Fernandez, who is the DEI director for, I don't know if that's her actual title, director of DEI for the city of Norwalk. And that's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so she was really excited to work with me because she felt like this was a great place for to plant the, to start her, meeting her goal of getting the other commissions in the city of Norwalk to take a similar position. And the arts was a perfect place for her to start with me. So she helped come up with an initial draft for this statement. And then I sent that statement on to Erica for some final tweaking. And we came up with this draft, which we can read into the record. Then I'd like to turn it over to Erica to offer her comments and thoughts about the future of how we can take this not just as a statement, but as a blueprint for future programs, policies, practices, et cetera, to really strive towards improvement and really just more opportunity for our diverse community. So, Brian, are you good if I read the draft into the record?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, great. The Arts and Cultural Commission of the City of Norwalk, Connecticut is dedicated to fostering a diverse and inclusive cultural landscape that reflects the richness of our community. We are committed to ensuring that residents from all backgrounds representing diverse identities have equal opportunities to contribute to and benefit from the arts. Equity is at the center of our mission, embodying our commitment to values, policies, and practices that guarantee the representation of historically underrepresented communities. We strive to include voices from diverse backgrounds, encompassing race, ethnicity, age, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, socioeconomic status, geography, citizen status, and religion. This commitment extends to developing arts policy, support for artists, nurturing accessible venues for expression, and the fair distribution of resources to all Norwalk residents. We commit to closing equity gaps that may exist within our practices, policies, and to include the voices and perspectives of our diverse community and establishing practices, programs, and policies in the future that drive equity and expand access to the arts in Norwalk. And I've sent that to Sabrina, and she can share it with you on the screen if you'd like.
Yeah.
And I think this really says a lot. I think this is a really powerful statement, and I would like to turn it over to Erica for her comments and her thoughts on this.
Thanks, Mark. Hi, Erica.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. Pardon me, I'm a little congested, so if I cough halfway through, I apologize. But I think that this is a really strong statement. I'm so excited that all of you have worked on this initiative because there are still many arts commissions, councils, and organizations that I don't think have coherent equity statements. One of my main recommendations for the future was to think about what you've accomplished to date, even if it hasn't been much. Generally, when people come to a website and they read a statement like this, they're asking, well, how do you actually do your work? So when I worked at the Westport Country Playhouse, we had a really small list of achievements, and it helped ground the conversation for visitors. It also helped with, in that second paragraph where you see diverse backgrounds encompassing, right? And then there's all those descriptors. There's still that tension in Fairfield County around what equity really is. And so if you have something that you can speak to, it helps people understand what you're committed to in real time, but it also holds people back from asking some of those nagging questions that can be mission creep, really. So you can't do everything, but you will commit to do what you can do. And then the only other thing that I would add is like in the future, we aim to as like 2 goals, again, just to ground people so they see that you're working on something actively, and then in the future there's something in the on the horizon. But other than that, I think this is a really strong statement, and I'm really grateful that Mark, you and I were able to collaborate. I think very highly of Latanya, so I think she did a fantastic job laying the groundwork. And I also just want to say that this statement, I think, will help you all stay in your lane. And for those who don't know me, I am big on people just staying in the space that they're in. So a lot of the language, as I was editing, I wanted to make sure that people would read this and see equity within your purview, not equity within the city. That's really important, I think, to, again, continue to do the work that you're doing in a very nuanced and specific way. So big kudos to all of you. And again, I think my recommendations are just to have like goals and a list of accomplishments there at the bottom so that people can see what you're working on and where you're headed as a commission.
Yeah, and I think there's always been the comment from, Janet, who used to be in the commission, and, one of Mark's big things he's always said is we don't want this to just turn into lip service. We don't want to just be something that lives on a website somewhere that it's never really referred to or thought of. So I totally agree with you. And I do like the point of sort of working within what we do, not trying to change the city as a whole necessarily, to make those small changes. And I love to hear that this is, that we're the first commission really to start this, and that hopefully will be the catalyst to see this trickle down through the rest of our city, which is incredible to hear. So
yeah, and the only other thing I'll add is one other thing that we did at the Playhouse that I found really helpful. We just had a digital suggestion box underneath our equity statement. And so generally when people read things like this, they have big feelings. So it could be helpful for people to kind of put that someplace and not to inundate you all. And then at whatever time you want to review that information as a gut check against your own statement, you can do that. And I highly recommend it just because, again, you may get people who have things to say, but it gives them an opportunity to get it off of their chest, and it gives you room to not carry that in real time.
I love that idea because it's all about giving voice to people who are underrepresented. And that I think that's a great idea. Sabrina, is that something that we could implement through the website? Do you feel?
We might be able to. I'll have to ask about the functionality, but if anything, we can still put like send any questions or concerns to this email address if we can't put like a physical box.
Yeah. That's a terrific idea. Does anybody else have any questions for Erica? Or, not everybody even understands fully what equity is about. And, if anybody has any questions on that, I think now would be a great time to ask that.
yeah, I agree.
Or not.
I guess you guys nailed it.
So Brian, in the spirit of this event, I'd like to call a motion for approval and adoption if this is a good time for that.
This is Melissa, I second.
Okay. Okay, yeah, let's work through. I'll work through the roll here. Mark Allen, how do you vote?
I vote unanimously, 100% yay.
Brian Casper, I vote aye. Nori Gruden,
Aye.
Melissa Matuska,
Aye.
Stephen Rust,
Aye.
Naomi Clark,
Aye.
Bob Abriola,
Aye.
and that's everybody's here. Look at that, the ayes carry. I mean, I agree. This is great. I think this is a really great lens to look at everything moving forward. So I'm very happy to have this, here for us as framework for everything we do, to include as many people as possible. So awesome work, guys.
Thank you, Brian. And thank you, Erica.
Yes, thank you very much,
That's
Erica.
great. Thanks,
Really
thanks,
appreciate it.
Erica.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I think the last thing there in new business, just general updates. The only thing that I have is that we're continuing to work through for Monroe Street. We're in the tail end of getting insurance and stuff nailed down for MJ and Josh and the encroachment permits and stuff like that. But we're hoping to have dates in May, which has always been the plan. And they are more than willing to do some sort of participatory event or class or talk or something with the schools, and if not, potentially even something else. So I'm really looking forward to that. You Are Not Alone is proposing the weekend of I think it's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th to do their painting, and they're also hoping to do something with the school and maybe an assembly, virtual or in person, as well as hoping to do something ahead of their painting event. I'm waiting to hear back what they might suggest. Originally, they had talked about doing a screening of their documentary, but we'll see where that goes. That's really all I have from me. And I don't think
I'm
there's
happy
really.
to help plan those teaching events or those.
Oh, great. Yeah, I think I'll definitely put them in touch with you, and also Heather. I know this is of interest to you as well, so perhaps potentially it'd be good to have you, at least them, bend your ear on some ideas, if you're open to it.
Sounds
Excuse me,
good.
Brian.
I'm old, but I've done a lot. So
There we
good
go.
new voices with some old experience would be great.
I agree.
Thanks.
Steve, you had something?
Yeah, I only heard the dates. I didn't catch the month. When is
Oh,
this?
May. They're hoping to do it in May, the beginning of May.
Okay.
So they want to do it before school's out, obviously, because they want to have some engagement. And I kind of let them just propose what they want to propose because their contract and everything is already finalized.
Sure.
So yeah, so they
Yeah.
picked that based on the artist availability and all that stuff. So
One
Sounds good.
note
Thanks.
about that in May is that schools are going to get really, really busy. So if they do want to get something going with them, now would be the time to reach
Yeah.
out.
Good
and
call.
try to get meals
Good
down
call.
states.
Okay, yeah, noted. Like I said, she's supposed to be getting back to me with some ideas. She emailed me today about it. So yeah, and West Avenue is going to be contingent on what is slid into old business now, but we'll get into that probably more at length later. That's all I have. I don't think there's anyone. Yeah, nothing else really there. So sliding down on through this agenda, we have old business that Nori put up onto the agenda. I'm gonna let her take it away in a sec here. So really, we're just chatting about the vines on West Avenue, which they're not vines. It's technically a sculpture. So the sculpture on West Avenue, just to jog everyone's memory, is the one that is going to get relocated to make way for the mural with Ernesto and Sunny, which is waiting on just some of these details really to give them firm dates and get things moving. I am skeptical that we'll be able to do that by this year, although I'd really, really, really would like to by fall, but I'm being realistic in terms of thinking about what this would take. But so that's what we're discussing. Nori just want to kind of open up the floor and have a conversation about this to give us some more thought. She's looked into some of the intention of the project and things like that. So Nori, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. When this original piece of artwork was put up, the Art Commission had nothing to do with it. It was redevelopment. And looking at the limited information that I found, it was I forget the name of they got half of the money from the National Endowments for the Arts. It's called Our Town. And it bridges, I guess, North Norwalk into South Norwalk. And this was done like 10 years ago, because I think the funding was like 2012 and it didn't get put up until 2014. And this gentleman, who is a renowned artist, was picked out of like 112 candidates. he worked with the community and decided to put up this sculpture, which is avant-garde, an avant-garde sculpture. So he dotted all his I's and crossed all his T's to get this piece of artwork up. Because I'm kind of torn now after reading more about this of whether or not it should be even moved. Because it bridges now the Art and Cultural Commission's corridor with these phrases in different languages. So now, because of the mural going up, it has to be taken down. And what I've noticed with there was Julian Newman or Norman took pictures of when it was being put up. He drilled holes into the wall and mounted it. The sculpture's mounted like a you would mount a television on your fireplace. So I'm picturing how to take it out. Plus, it's also in sections. So I don't know if he soldered the actual piece, which is like, I think they said between 700 and 800 square feet. If it's all soldered together now, or if it's in the sections that he originally placed it up. So,
Well,
and
sorry, go ahead.
Sabrina talked with redevelopment and got some more information that she can share with the committee. I'm just like I said, I'm torn about what to do with this. It's a valuable piece of art. You know, yes, people like it, people hate it, but I'm like, you know, oh, we'll take it down and put it somewhere, but where? And should it even be removed? I mean, this is like a whole, ends up
Yeah.
being like a philosophical conversation of, is sculptures not being valued as much as a mural is?
That's
You know,
fair.
you look,
I think
yeah,
it's a
you
fair
know, so
question because art being so subjective, we do a mural, some people might love them, some people might hate it. You know,
And-
it's one of those things where my only objection to, I like the vines personally. I know of other people who are passionately don't like it. But my only objection to taking it down is that I don't think we've ever voted to decommission it as a
Yeah.
public art in the city of Norwalk. Maybe we don't have to, I don't know, but that's just how it feels to me.
Hey Sabrina, if I remember correctly, didn't the city come to us and ask if there was something that we could do about it because it was challenging for the Parks Department to trim around the wording and it was overgrown? Was there something that the city had asked for us to do on that?
I don't know if that was necessarily the reason. So once I talked to redevelopment to get some more information on this directly, my first question was, can we even move it or do anything with it? Because we use grant money, and the answer was yes, we can. We own the piece now. It is part of our public art collection. And that's kind of where the Arts and Cultural Commission comes in, because we oversee Norwalk's public art collection. When we were talking about what, you know, to do with it, if we wanted to move it, if we wanted to leave it, where we would move it, if we were to move it, they have funding at redevelopment to facilitate whatever decision that we decide. They want the Arts Commission to essentially tell them what they think is best. And if that is keeping it there, then that's the response. If that is relocating it somewhere else, that's a separate response. And that if we want to take it down and store it somewhere, that's another response that's also possible. But they want the commission to really have a think on it and think about what we want to do as a commission to then guide that decision. So I don't really know if it's necessarily a maintenance issue. I haven't really asked that specific question directly, but they are looking for some guidance on what we should do with it. I feel like after hearing Nori's comments and a few others as well, Mark, yourself included, and some others that used to be on the commission that have reached out to me directly on this specifically, the path of least resistance may be to keep it up and incorporate the mural and the vines together, which we asked the artists to do, and they weren't really on board with that. But there might be a separate conversation where we might have to go out and redo this process to include the vines if we do decide to keep them up. But those are kind of, in my mind, the three options that we're looking at right now, is that, you know, we can do nothing or we can do something. And both of those but all of those solutions can still include the mural. It's not like we can't do the mural because the vines stay. It's just, how do we want to execute that as a commission? And I think that's the purpose of all of you guys being together and from different backgrounds, having different feelings on the piece and on mural than on sculpturism and how we want to navigate that. But I think that's kind of where they're looking to us for the expertise from all of you to then make that decision. But there's money in the pot to do the trimming of the hedges and cleaning of the wall and removal of the sculpture if we need it. If we want to store it, we have funding for that as well. So it's really just up to us to decide kind of what path we want to take on this.
I think that's great news. That's the most encouraging thing, that is that redevelopment is asking us to weigh in and tell them
Yeah.
what to do. That to me is great news,
Agreed.
whatever we decide.
Agreed.
Well, Brian, as a mural artist, I'm, you know, I paint I know how to paint like a room in a house. Can you put tape on the mural, the sculpture, so
Sure.
it won't get paint on it? I mean, it's very intricate and everything, but you know, going back and forth in my mind, I'm like, we could take it down. Well, how do you take it down? Because can you just pop it out of the cement, or did he put because it's been up there for 10 years and hasn't
Yeah.
moved, so is
Yeah.
it like glued in there?
It's probably
You know, it's
yanked.
all these, you know, it's like just the visuals of just pulling that out. And
Yeah, I
is it
think
gonna
just-
get damaged?
there's sort of two sides of this coin. There's, you know, the philosophical, you know, thing that Mark is bringing up about decommissioning and setting some sort of precedent there. Should we? How should we? All that, as well as the more practical things on if we even can and what would be involved in that. So I think
Yeah,
it gets hairy fast.
it does.
I don't, you know,
It's
I
also,
think
you know what? It's a pretty high wall. So I wonder, you know, it's up pretty high. You know,
which also is another thing. And Naomi, I do see your hand up. There is another thing too that is like, with things that come out from a wall, something that you need to consider if we're going to move this. I think the height is exactly right. You need to think of it from like a city insurance safety level. You don't want people climbing it. You don't want people putting trash behind it. You don't want people hanging things off of it. You don't want people, you know, there's a lot there. Plus just the pure problem of where, because of its size, as well as how it needs to be put wherever it's going to go. And there are lots of creative solutions, but there's just a ton to think about. But I want, Naomi's had her hand up for a minute, so I want to make sure she chimes in.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I think that we should first find out if it is removable. If it's not, then our question is answered. If it is, then we find the right place. And there's so many city buildings. Like, I think as much as I feel like you do need a big space and you need distance, I also feel like having a more intimate experience with it, like understanding that it is these multiple languages saying something. Like, I could see it as a great piece at the library or at, you know, so many different places. But I think first, you know, finding out if we can move it, and then maybe coming together and make recommendations after that we can give to the other board.
Yeah, because I think, yeah, that is certainly, I mean, it's, you can cut metal off of a wall and weld it on something else. But, and I think too, something else that's going to wrap up in all of this is that, of course, we as a commission need to kind of have kind of a clear view on this. And then I actually think it is going to be very worth our while to actually get in touch with the artist, because I would like them to weigh in on this. If it is going to get a move, or if the city has decided or the commission has decided to move it, I would like them to be at least advisory in some capacity to it, or to, like, again, just to say what they would see for it. I think is the right thing to do. We don't have to do that, as Jess has already pointed out, that we own it. We can do what we want with it. We can light it on fire. And then I had another point that totally lost, but Melissa has her hand up, so I'll let her.
We
let
say
her
we
make a
have
point.
we have the money to remove it. We
Well,
didn't.
redevelopment's moving it. Redevelopment is the one who has the funds to do it,
Okay.
not us. Melissa has her hand up.
Nori, remind me again what it's supposed to say in multiple languages, please.
I think it's supposed to say welcome,
Yeah, something like that.
And
something like that.
And Brian, I just want to confirm, we went to the artist to ask if this could be incorporated into the mural, and their response was no.
It wasn't could, it was, are you interested? So you
Okay.
can- we sort of
Can I-
said, sorry, go ahead, Samar.
Sorry, the reason I said it was high was because I was pointing out, I mean, the wall is divided by horizontal lines, so
Yeah.
is it possible that the mural can be below with?
I
a-
think it absolutely could. And again, that starts to, again, we start to tiptoe into, basically what we're like forcing a collaboration too. So again, I kind of like there to be a conversation if that is the direction we go. But again, I did ask Ernesto and Sunny just flat out, yes or no, what's your take on it? And they just said no. Like it wasn't even like
Okay.
we'd be interested in having a conversation. We can tell them whatever we want. No contract has been written. But at the same time, I also don't want to keep stringing them along, which also creates another thing to consider here is we do have 2 artists and money approved for this thing. So if it doesn't move, or if they are uninterested in participating in this way, then what happens to that proposal, that money, those artists who we're hoping to get, basically internationally recognized artists in our town to do something. So, I mean, there's a lot to unpack. So, yeah,
Agreed.
I don't-
Yeah, because the sculptor is world renowned as well. So it's
Sure.
kind of like, it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. I understand,
I'm not trying to make a
wanting
point that
the
one's better at all.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying like, because it's like, well, why can't they make the mural a little bit shorter? So there's all these different things. And, the artist who did do the sculpture might be perfectly fine with, yeah, you could just
Yeah.
take it down. It's going to pop right out. And we might be making a mountain over a molehill, but it's like,
But I don't
pops
think we
into your
necessarily are
brain.
because of Mark's point, which he brought up, I feel like years ago, which is setting the precedent for decommissioning something. If by doing this, you basically are creating a system in which people can just complain about something enough, and then now we're painting over murals or whatever it is. And while of course we want to hear voices and we want to hear what people think, but the time to do that is in meetings like this, which of course we see who shows up. But anyway, Steve has his hand up. I want to let him chime in.
Hi. So I think as part of the philosophical side of it, right? If it comes down and goes up into a place of equal prominence, I mean, does that factor into it? So if we find a really good location, maybe, I would hope the artist would be on board with that. I don't know if if that becomes part of decommissioning, but you would hope that you would ask their permission or whatever to move it, or I guess it's not permission because we own it, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. So I have one idea of where maybe it could go if this matters, but
Toss it out.
I just happened to come onto this. You should be seeing
Wow,
my screen.
Hey,
isn't a good idea?
not a bad spot.
Not a bad
Uh,
spot. It says welcome.
It's right across from the aquarium, right? And there probably is enough linear footage.
Definitely.
It would not be a hard installation, maybe. I don't know if they can
Right.
hang over the end, but and it's city property.
Mhm.
There you go. I love that idea.
It's not a bad plan B. Anyone else have any? So I think from this meeting, what should probably happen is that, sort of a subcommittee of 4 of us should come together to make our recommendation based on all these ideas and all these factors and all these things as to what we do. I think then we should vote on that next meeting, whatever that solution is. And then from there, like I said, then we'll have some steps, whether it be contacting artists, seeing what we can do about it. So that's kind of the hope moving forward. Melissa has her hand up.
I think that's a great location. I know we've also talked about doing something over by Eli as well, and doing something to kind of make it look a little nicer when the train pulls into the South Norwalk train station. I mean, I feel like if there was a nice wall that was there, that was kind of the welcome to Norwalk, I feel like that's a great location for it too. I also do like Steven's idea though, too. I feel like there are options of other places, but I agree with Nori that, you know, we should just talk to the artist and kind of get a sense of what their feelings are.
For sure.
The Yankee Doodle Garage is also another area. I mean, if we're looking
Yeah,
at.
they've already kind of come up with a plan for what they're doing with that. In terms of painting it or something, lights or something, I forget.
They're painting it. Yeah.
And
Sabrina,
they didn't ask us about it. Heather has her hand.
Yeah, they are putting a whole light show up on that
Yeah.
garage.
I did
well,
try to insert the Arts Commission into that. I was politely told, no.
I think they should
Stay
have,
away.
except they have their own money. The parking authority has their own money and can spend it however they want. It's not part of the general budget or general fund. So there's that piece of it. I think they also still have a gallery of their own too.
We're supposed
Um,
to be running that gallery, but
Yeah, okay, that's another
That's a whole-
conversation at
that's a
another time.
a whole other thing.
Maritime Gallery?
Yeah, Bob's
Yeah.
supposed to be running that gallery.
Yeah. But what I want to say is I think that you've brought up some good points, and I know that, you know, I did some murals that were under the Washington Street Bridge for a long time, and when they wanted to do some wayfinding, now there's the big SONO letters. We had to remove our mural. And it was just basically given to the artist. So that's one thing. But I think it's really important to come up with some kind of standards and procedures for decommissioning artwork. And I think it'd be a really good thing for the commission, the Arts Commission, to have something. I don't know if it becomes an ordinance or something about how you decommission, you know, I think it would be good work.
I agree, and I think
Not,
also
not so lovely and
Yeah.
to do, but it's important work.
yeah,
for
I mean,
you
nothing
guys.
lasts forever. At some point, all these things are going to
Yeah.
start to need repairs or to be
Right.
disassembled or whatever it is, whether it be a mural or a piece of sculpture or whatever, no matter
Yeah.
what. And I agree, there should be something sort of in place
Yeah.
and like how that looks.
Especially, and I know that like the mural on the end of Washington Street, the ship we were talking about, Rex mural.
It came back up. It came
Stuff
back up.
like,
every
sorry, I know, it was me, I did it. But I think, you know, having those murals removed under the Washington Bridge left a really bad taste in my mouth because it happened without any community input, even though it was, you know, we did it as a community. And I got grants from organizations to do it, and they weren't consulted either. And I think that, I don't know who would be a good person to do that, but maybe work with the legal department to come up with some standards for how you're going to proceed if you decommission something before you start decommissioning. Okay,
Absolutely.
that's it. Okay, thanks.
You know,
Bye.
to that point, which I think that's a great point, and it kind of speaking to our equity statement, you know, public opinion, you know, if you don't ask for it, then, you know, then you kind of need to ask for it. Now, when I heard from the guy who was most passionate that I heard from, who hated the vines, I heard it at a backyard barbecue. The guy was like, "Oh, you're the chairman of the Arts Commission. I hate those vines. When are you going to take those vines down?" He hated it. But has he come to a meeting to tell us? No. No. But if you I think that's where I think that, you know, putting out a call for public opinion about something like this might be relevant.
Yeah, I agree. Other
Have to show up, but if they
Yeah.
don't have a chance to show up, then we can't say that they were consulted.
yeah, there you go. Anyone else have any
Sabrina,
food for thought? Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, is there any way to get somebody on a ladder to see how that's installed by the next meeting? So when we're deciding this, we can say, okay, it comes right out, it's not attached. You know,
Yeah,
it comes out in
I can
pieces,
go
you know,
out
that
and
type of thing.
I can go out and take some pictures of how it's affixed to the wall.
That'd be just
Yeah,
like a
'cause this
lag
way-
bolt or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Reach out to Susan Wallerstein. She was the person on the commission at the time that kind of spearheaded and oversaw it. I don't know where Susan is now. I think she moved. to
no, she
Florida.
wasn't. This is the thing. There's an article on Nancy R. Norwalk. The art commission had no say in this mural, this sculpture. So that in itself was a whole other controversy, but they didn't. It was all redevelopment. They picked the art, they did the call for the artist. They picked the artist, they picked the project that he was gonna do. And the art commission had no say in it because evidently just look at Nancy. It's called the Gatevine. Just Google it. You'll see the Nancy R. Norwalk article, and then you'll see like about 20 or 30 comments on the bottom of people commenting on this. Wonderful piece of
That's our
artwork.
public. That's our public
That's-
forum right there, Nancy.
Yes.
That's
right
interesting, Nori. I was a friend of the commission back then when it was discussed, and I know it came up at meetings. Whether or not anybody was listened to, that's another question, I guess. But
Yeah.
it was a topic on the agenda a few times.
I mean, I think it's also tricky because, it's something that I also think that public art is kind of temporary. I'm not proposing we just throw the thing away, but there is something about an ebb and a flow. At a certain point, we're going to run out of space to put stuff up, and having this kind of system in where we can kind of art in, art out, isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I know it can get hairy, but maybe it is in some ways like it's something that has kind of run its course. Again, I'm not necessarily saying that, but it is something to think about, that maybe this is like, again, it's been up for 10 years. Yes, it was part of our city, but and something we own. But if this were a mural, let's say, I don't think we'd be having the same conversations.
Right.
And it's because it's something physical, it's something that we can physically touch and hold and dismantle. Whereas a mural is something you power wash or paint. And I know it's apples and oranges.
Mural, best case scenario, a mural is what they say is like 25, 30 years.
I mean, max, like in the shade, no sun, no wind. Like you can maybe get that out of it.
So I wonder if then that becomes part of the commissioning process, which is you have that caveat in there that there is an expectancy of the lifespan of this piece. And
And again, it gets tricky when it's a physical thing, because then what do you do with the physical thing? But
it's true. And even the term decommission, moving it might not be decommissioning it.
sure.
Like we have public art that's, sitting in the basement of the Norwalk Historical Society, public art, still public art. It's just not on display currently.
Yeah, I mean, that's how museums operate.
So if it's not on public display and it's in storage, it's not necessarily decommissioned. I think I'm not certain, but
No, that's a
We're
fair
not
definition
destroying
to
it.
bring up. Yeah, no, we're not melting it down, right?
yeah, we're just holding it for possible future display.
It's displayed in the basement of the historical.
Shit. It's in display in the Yankee Doodle garage. You want to go see it? There it is. We'll give you the access code.
I think the other thing is it's what, 700 to 800 square feet. So it's not like the little ship that was
Mhm.
found
Mhm.
in
The
the
dragon,
health department.
the
Dragon boat. It's
Yeah.
it's huge, so it's kind of like different. It's a
Yeah, and
different animal.
if it's not an existing location that it can be put in, such as the Maritime Garage, then it's something that needs to be basically built for it. Let's just say we were going to put it in Vets Park. We'd have to either build a wall or build posts or something, like I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
It's like, if it can be anchored anywhere, when they finish that bridge, anchor it to the the train tracks in South Norwalk. I don't know. It
Good-
just
good
needs
luck.
that massive
Do that.
amount of space.
Good luck. Yeah,
So,
in 10 years.
Yeah, it's just like this.
Nori, you've been sort of reading a lot about it and looking into it in a big way. Like, if you were to say right now, what would be your personal recommendation after having read as much as you've read and sort of wrapping your head around it? Like, what do you think? I'm just curious.
My passive aggressive way would just leave it there and just tell the artist, I'm sorry. Take, I don't know, the foot, make the mural a little bit smaller and leave it there, because it's going to be too much of a hassle to move it. Because then, that's just me, because I'm just like looking at the thing and I'm like, unless Sabrina goes, oh yeah, it's going to be easy to pop it out. But I have a feeling he welded it together.
But even if it's easy to, the point you brought up before, with just the sheer size of it. I mean, even if it is easy
Yeah.
to remove, where then does it go?
You know, speaking,
Exactly. And my thing is, I'd rather, if redevelopment has the money to move it, maybe they have the money to give us to do something else. Another piece of artwork, because then,
Now you're talking.
you know what I mean? Yeah, that's,
See-
okay, just give us some money that you're gonna spend on
Yeah,
moving
tell you what, we're
this.
not going to move it. Can we have that $30,000 you're going to spend?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just thinking, just at least the
Okay.
path, what is it, the path of least resistance, just
Yeah.
leave it.
I feel like everyone's probably going to chime in on this, but who is interested in having an offline, sort of subcommittee conversation about this to kind of come up with a recommendation?
I mean, I would like to be a part of the conversation.
I
You
would
know.
be, and I'll give everybody the links. I'll email everybody the links to the websites
Yeah,
I
please
found.
do. Yeah, please do.
And and he did a lovely video on YouTube of it as well.
Brian,
know-
you can put me on the list. I'm happy to join.
Okay, yeah,
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
so what Nori said about her inner passive aggressive nature. For me, from a publicity standpoint, I think moving it to a place like the Maritime Garage is a way of kind of reintroducing it to the public. It becomes maybe
Sure.
like something that's we're able to, show it again, reintroduce it.
And in a way, if you think about just viewing this piece of artwork right now, who's walking on West Avenue between the mall and the art space, really?
Right.
On the side of the
Oh,
Maritime
and-
Garage, just as an example, that's a place where you're coming out of and you can see it basically as a whole. I mean, that's a consideration too, just like how it's viewed and perceived. And I agree, like publicity, it's like, oh, this is something that the city has, by the way, and we paid for this, and we got a grant from National Endowment of the Arts, which is no small thing. Pay attention to it. This is what it's about.
and I forgot to mention, there's supposed to be a plaque up there to
I think there is.
tell everybody there is.
I think
I don't know
so.
where it is. then.
Again,
I think it's
You have no
across.
idea where it is.
yeah, it's like on the wrong side of the street or something.
Yeah, I think it's on, I think it's in the park across the street.
Yeah.
So then, if it is decided to move it, we need to move the plaque too.
Well, I think, and and to Mark's point too, to do a little bit of re-education on it, and to spend
Yeah.
some time, if not literally telling people, but also designing the experience around it so that you can experience it sort of quote unquote correctly and know what it is about. When I learned that it said something, I had a new appreciation for it. I remember seeing it, like, it looks like plop art. Oh well, like it's a thing. I'm glad there's a thing there and not nothing. But when I found out, he actually did this community work to figure out what to say and how to say it. Again, new appreciation. So
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm at the point where I got my television mounted to the fireplace. It took a while to get the frame stuck in there. I'm like, how hard is it going to be to take this thing out? It's been up there for 10 years through a couple hurricanes and a couple nor'easters. I mean, how is it
But
really stuck in there?
Removing it for redisplay and removing it and destroying it are two different
Yeah.
things.
sure. It can be definitely
Exactly.
removed, but removing it with the intention of putting it somewhere else might be a little trickier, depending.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
That's
Anyone else have any thoughts on this that they want to voice or concerns to bring up? Okay. Cool. I mean, it's a ton to think about. I think, like, again, 4 of us should get together and really hash it out. Maybe even in person, which would be nice. And to come up with a recommendation. I think a lot of really good ideas and good points have been brought up. And if anyone thinks anything afterward, like shoot an email out to everybody. And we can certainly keep the conversation moving offline. I don't think there is anything else on the agenda. Is there, Sabrina?
Nope, that was it.
Cool. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have a second?
I
Thank you, Nori. Mark Allen, how do you vote to adjourn this
I
meeting
vote to
here?
stay.
Get out of here.
I vote to adjourn.
Brian Casper, vote aye. Stephen Rust.
Hi.
Nori Gruden.
I
Bobby,
Aye.
Naomi,
I.
Melissa Matuska.
Aye.
Thanks, guys. See you next
Okay.
month and or offline.
We'll see you guys.
If you guys